Look at the roster of the Justice League. You have a literal god of the sun, an Amazonian demigod, and a Martian shapeshifter. And right alongside them is a guy in a heavily armored bat costume. Despite being entirely human, this guy commands absolute authority. He is the single most feared entity in the criminal underworld, and he regularly forces beings who can juggle planets to stand down. Curious, analytical tone. That level of authority doesn't come from bench pressing a lot of weight. If a human without superhuman strength commands that kind of room, they are utilizing a specific sequence of behavioral triggers. To understand why this strategy is necessary, look at the environment he operates in. Gotham City is an enormous metropolitan sprawl with a relentlessly high, seemingly endless crime rate. This diagram represents a citywide map of crime incidents. Mathematically, a single human vigilante cannot physically be in 30 different places at once to stop a mugging, a bank robbery, and an assault purely through hand-to-hand combat. Early in his career, Bruce Wayne hit a logistical wall. To actually make a dent in the city's crime statistics, he needed a force multiplier to scale his impact without needing to throw a punch at every single criminal. His solution was to target human biology. By triggering the primal freeze, fight, or flight response in his opponents, he could let their own physiological panic do the heavy lifting for him. Transforming from a guy in an alleyway into a citywide symbol of terror meant abandoning brute force and mastering 3 specific behavioral science triggers. The first tool is Kinesics, specifically the manipulation of posture. By keeping his chest expanded and his head elevated, he permanently projects a constant, unwavering signal of physical superiority. The batsuit itself is engineered to artificially inflate his silhouette. The broad, armored shoulders, pointed ears, and heavy cape mimic an animalistic threat display, designed to make him appear much larger than he actually is. This physical presence extends to how he reacts to other alpha figures. When someone tries to assert dominance, the standard nonverbal tactic is to mirror their physical cues. Take a scenario where Superman steps into his space and places a heavy hand on his shoulder to assert authority. Instead of shrinking back or shifting his weight, he matches the exact gesture, placing his own hand right back. Replicating an opponent's physical cues signals a refusal to accept a lower social rank. This shifts the interaction from one of submission to one of social parity, neutralizing the attempted dominance. This diagram illustrates proxemics, how humans subconsciously draw invisible boundaries of personal space. The innermost ring represents the intimate zone, where strangers are kept outside. During interrogations, he violently shatters this contract, aggressively closing the distance and invading a criminal's intimate space. Claiming another person's physical space so brazenly sends a clear message of absolute territorial control. This sudden spatial violation triggers an immediate physiological panic response in the human brain, completely disarming the opponent before any physical fight actually begins. That physical dominance is paired with a strict rule for verbal communication. In basic human social hierarchies, subordinates explain themselves, while leaders delegate. The more a person talks, justifies their actions, or tries to fill dead air, the more they signal insecurity and lower social status to the group around them. His approach does the exact opposite. He speaks in short, clipped directives, never justifies his presence to anyone, and frequently vanishes entirely mid-sentence.
By leaving a conversation open-ended and retreating into extreme silence, he forces his opponent's brain to desperately search for answers, filling the void with their own worst-case scenarios. Human imagination conjures far more terrifying outcomes than reality ever could. Simply by saying nothing, he turns the criminal's own mind into a highly effective weapon. Dominant kinetics, aggressive proxemics, and extreme verbal scarcity. Combining these 3 behaviors transforms a mortal in a tactical suit into a calculated psychological presence. This capacity to instill terror stems from the clinical manipulation of ingrained human biology and social dynamics. You can have vast corporate wealth or decades of martial arts training, but applied behavioral science is what actually scales across an entire city. Absolute power and respect are not granted by the words you speak or the physical force you wield. They are earned by how you ruthlessly command the space around you.